We are back from Origins 2025, and we are here to give you our top 10 list of games we were most impressed with at Origins Game Fair 2025.
All that I got will never stop, give it all. Straight to the top, will never fly, give it all. All that I have, I let it be, cause nobody's better than me. What do you see? Give it all.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise.
Good gaming champions, and welcome to another episode of Champions on Tabletop. I have my boy Deon with me, and I, of course, am Matt, and we are back from Origins Game Fair 2025 to bring to you the list of 10 games we were most excited about after the Origins Game Fair. So, Deon, first of all, unlike Gamma, you're still alive and healthy. I'm proud of you.
Yeah. Knock on wood somewhere. On my table here because I'm not sick, so that's good. I didn't get blasted with the con crud. In fact, Origins is probably the best game fair I have been to. Because I'm a big people person, and I enjoyed the people that were there, and also enjoyed the closing at 6 and playing games afterwards. And we'll get into as we talk a little bit more about it. But I enjoyed that fair, so I am back, refreshed, ready to rumble. To be fair, we stay all days though too. So I mean, maybe that's why we're refreshed and ready to rumble. So
We got out before it was too late.
we got out before they drunk us under.
It's like chocolate cake. You know, a couple bites and it's still delicious. You eat the whole thing and you're sick to your stomach.
That's what it was.
So now you didn't get the con crud, but you certainly had some of the con walk, didn't you?
Well, it's a lot to walk through, and we did definitely. My legs are tired, and my big butt doesn't walk like that. So yes.
And from what I have heard from several of the booths, this game fair wasn't as busy as in previous years. And I'm sure for the game studio's perspective, because this was, I believe, the 50th anniversary, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and they actually just released the stats, and it was busier. So maybe we left when it was really busy. It went up like, I want to say 9% to 10% over last year's numbers.
Which is fantastic because there was a lot of concerns about discretionary spending coming into this year's con season. And would that potentially be down? And would fewer game companies be at these conventions due to tariffs, etc.? So I think that overall that maybe sends a really good message for the rest of this year with PAX Unplugged and Gencon, Essen Spiel, a lot of the other big cons coming up later this year.
Well, I can tell you after day one, I was like, I shouldn't have came. Like, I was like, I shouldn't have been here because there wasn't anything that really excited me. Even in the media first event that we did, that the Thursday night on the first day we were there was nothing. There was a few things that was like, oh, that's kind of cool, or oh, that's nice, but there was nothing that was like, I want this now. There was like one maybe in the group, and we'll talk about that as we go. But like you said, it's really changed. Games that are coming out this year are definitely, or even into next year, are definitely less tactile games. They are very card-driven games. And you could definitely tell they're trying to cut costs wherever they can. So hopefully they don't cut it on the creativity, and you could still make a solid game with a deck of cards, right? So
yeah. And for those of you who don't, we do have a TikTok, and I did put a TikTok out while at Origins, and that was exactly what I was trying to give a little Gen Con prep for those of you getting ready for next month, which was a big trend of new stuff all revolved around card games and small box games. And as one of our friends in the industry said, this is the age of all play.
yeah, I mean, yeah, everything's small box, everything. And even all play booths, I don't think any of our top 10 is from the all play booth. I have this, and me being the gamer I am, I just kind of was like, ugh, card game, ugh, another card game, ugh, card game. Although there is a couple on this list. So I think we have some, there's the way that we did this list was definitely games that we kind of got our hands on a little bit, and at least understood how the game mechanics work. and play through a little bit. And I think we want to make some like shout outs, I guess we should say first, right? To the people who that wouldn't be on a board game list. And we want to shout out because the 50th anniversary of Origins was pretty awesome to be a part of.
Yeah. And just to kind of walk people through, we did have the opportunity on Wednesday night to do a media first event, which was really cool. Obviously, this event took place in Columbus, Ohio. So, we had to hold our breath for a really long time, being in the sneaky city of Columbus, which, of course, as everybody knows, is the armpit of Michigan. And with that said, we had an interesting hour or so to get some hands-on with some of the new stuff that hasn't hit the market yet. A chance for a lot of these developers to kind of get time with media to highlight their games, which is a neat thing that they do at Origins for those in the media pass. Then on Thursday, we did get in an hour early and we had a chance to kind of walk the convention hall. You'll see footage of all of this. We're going to do kind of a vlog post here coming up soon that kind of highlights a lot of all the B-roll and all the neat stuff we got of games, and Deon and I are kind of walk through the experience that we had with a lot of the stuff. So we'll save some of that for later. But overall, we played all day Thursday. Friday, same thing. We had a chance to spend a lot of time there. Stayed really late on Friday night playing a really cool game, which is going to show up here later on this list. And then Saturday, also same thing. Had a lot of time on the convention floor. Got to play some games, and then we ended up leaving for home on Saturday, so we could have Sunday to rest before we had to go back to work on Monday. So that was a really great con structure for us. And like I said, I had a great time with you, Deon. And with that said, as you mentioned, we're going to do some shout outs before we get to some honorable mentions. So one of the neat things with Origins, and like a lot of these festivals, is there's a lot of opportunity for the nerd culture to highlight a lot of really cool art and unique board game, TCG adjacent type of collectibles and unique things. So we wanted to take a minute, and Dion, I know you wanted to give a shout out to the first one for some of the tabletop role playing game stuff.
Yeah, they had a lot of good books there. A lot of them. Pirate Borg was there, and a few other companies that were really sponsoring their tabletop role playing games. Archeon, I want to say Archeon Games or Archeon Games. I really enjoyed their booth. They had a lot of cool games there, and if you scan the code, they'd give you a book for free, which was pretty cool. They sent me home as being a retailer with a big pile of books that I had to carry around majority of the day, which
Got a little workout in. I was
got to
proud of
work
it.
out with those thick books. But
When we couldn't find my car while you was carrying the big pile of books, which was even better to see you struggling.
that's true. But one of them was
Brand Colonia.
Brand Colonia. And it is a spaghetti fantasy, they call it. So it's a mix between The Princess Bride meets Blazing Saddles, which sounds like a blast. So I walked away with 3 or 4 of those books. And there was a lot out there. So we're not really focusing on that stuff, the tabletop role playing games. We are trying to focus on the board games for this video here. But I will say a big huge shout out to those guys. They were really friendly, great. They talked about their books. Their art was amazing, and definitely check those guys out. There was also speaking of art, there was also some artists on the floor down Artist Alley that were just amazing art that I wanted to work with. Even for my retail store, I thought it'd be cool to bring it in and give that con feel like we like to do. I know
Yeah,
bought a
Jake.
couple pieces of art, right?
Yeah, Jeremy Provost and Jacob Walker were two that I had a chance to actually purchase. Jeremy Provost was the one who I know for Dion, since you have a big One Piece community in your shop, he had some really neat metallic original art, and he had stuff from One Piece that I know Dion you were hopeful to get in your shop to help support the community. And then he also had this beautiful Stitch, which I'll put in the B-roll here. Just beautiful art. Had a few different. My daughter loves Stitch, so that was a big hit. And then the one that I thought was, in my opinion, probably the prettiest was Jacob Walker, who had I bought an axolotl with a dice, laying on a dice with dragon wings on it, and it was adorable. I loved it, and when I saw it, I was like, I have to get this for my son. He loves axolotls, and all of his artwork was absolutely gorgeous.
And even when we left on Saturdays, he was missing some big pieces of art from his booth. So other people agreed. So definitely. And there was a lot of other artists. I hate to miss out, but those are just ones that stuck out to us that were really like, ooh, check that out, or ooh, watch that. I mean,
Yeah.
had the potion that was spinning, and it just all
Yeah.
really cool stuff there that
Well, and I don't know if I got video of that one, Deon, but yeah, to your point, there was almost like it's like the nerds version of a lava lamp.
Yeah,
And they
really good.
created this magnetic base that would just spin, and then it looked like a potion bottle that you put on top, and then the water with the glitter in it would just spin, so it looked like this potion that was brewing, which was a really cool idea.
Yeah.
Also, another quick shout out to WM Homesteads. We're really hoping that we can work with them in the future because I've got to say, especially for the price, and this is what I think every time I see them. One, it's a husband and wife that run it. They're in Ohio, and they're absolutely wonderful people. And they make an incredible product for an incredible price.
Those are board game
Yeah.
tables that were really awesome. Board game tables. W, it was
Correct.
in the Homestead, right?
WM Homestead,
Check
correct.
them out.
And
Wow, those are really big shout out to those guys.
yeah, because like I said, for the price that you get, I mean, there's a lot of big names that you know, but these are more carpenters who are just they kind of found a little niche in the board game space. So some of their most beautiful tables are like $3,000-$4,000, which if you compare it to like Rathskelter or Wormwood or some of the other ones, I mean, even another cool one that we'll put some B-roll in here of that look like this really neat looking D&D table with these big pillars on each side with like fake lanterns on it. Like all of those usually go for, 8, 9, 10, 12, $14,000.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, for the quality that WM makes, I mean, like I said, I'm hoping to eventually get one in my house as well. So, and maybe we'll get some in your shop too.
Yeah, that'd be great. So big shout out to those guys as well. Also, I want to mention Foreteller. Foreteller is an app or something you can download that helps me get through those lengthy books that you read in board gaming. And I'm very excited to pick up or to deal with Foreteller moving forward and maybe bring them into some of our streams to allow them to with voiceovers and music, and really makes the mood for a little bit of price and $6, $10, depending on what it is, that really makes the event, right?
Yeah.
People remember that instead of me having to bumble through a book and read it to everybody at the table.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go click, play, set it here.
Well, let's be honest. Yeah, we all have that friend who tries to do the voices and stuff, and you're like, bro, like you're killing the vibe here.
Here. So it's Foretellers. Check them out. It's amazing. If you don't already have a download it. They were there. We had a really good conversation with those guys. So those are some short shout outs we want to do before we get into this. So
Yeah. The last two, we wanted to give a quick shout out to Asmund Day. We
yes.
did have a opportunity to do a first look with Asmund D. We got into a special event only for media. And in fact, some of the games that we got to play are on the list that are not out yet that we're very excited about. And then, of course, just Gamma in general. Gamma is the one who organizes both Gamma and Origins. It's a small group of people who work very hard to try to create a wonderful experience in the board game space to help promote and advocate for not just the big companies, but also a lot of the independents and the small creators and crafters. And so I give them a lot of credit for the hard work that they do. It's not easy. You don't get a lot of credit, but definitely a big shout out to Gamma for all their hard work.
Yeah, and the volunteers for the Origins were really respectful people and very nice to work with. So a big shout out to Gamma and Origins for allowing us to be there, and then also allowing us to, hold it, or hold that event for us. So big shout out to those guys. 50th anniversary. Right? That's big. 50th.
It's the only thing I can think. It's the only thing I can think of that's older than you.
That's a big deal.
It's not much.
That's a big deal, guys. 50
It isn't a big deal.
Big.
That's a really long time.
Re
It's a really long time, right, Deon?
century.
All right, let's move on to our honorable mentions. We're not going to take a lot of time with these, but there's just too much, honestly, Deon, to fit into just a top 10. And it's not fair to some of the really unique things that we had a chance to see at Origin. So we said, all right, we're going to just take a little snippet and highlight just a couple of the neat ones that maybe weren't necessarily right on the top 10 list, but deserved a little bit of a shout out. So I'm going to start with the first one. This one is called The Sheep by No Strategy Games. I'll tell you what. So this is going to come out on Kickstarter, I think in September, I think is what the gentleman over at No Strategy were telling me. And I have to say, I can't think of a more unique game premise. Deon, it's a simple game. It's there's card play, a little bit of deck building, and your whole goal is to move your caravan across the map. And during the day, everything is great. It's just a quiet plain, just a simple time. But when the night comes, come the murderous, bloodthirsty sheep. And
The
they
sheeples will come
want
alive.
you dead. And I have to say, it's the most creative game I have seen. Never did I think, hey, I want a board game about sheep trying to murder me. But now I do.
Yeah, that looked pretty awesome. Some of the way that they mutate was kind of cool. The people who make the game are just, I can't even remember the studio's name. What was the studio's name?
No strategy.
No Strategy. Mwah. Beautiful, great people. Everybody I met
Yep.
at that booth was just nice. Wanted
Couple young guys.
sit down and play. They wanted to teach me the game. It was really good. Really good people.
Yep.
Oh, I
Couple
want
young
to
guys.
honorable mention them as well.
Yep. Next one on the list is going to be from Origami Whale, our friend Tyler, who is one of the co-founders of Origami Whale. Their game, Dicey Devices. Now, they were, I think, hoping ideally to have this out maybe late last year, but with everything going on, they're still working and playtesting to try to make it right. But Dicey Devices is one I actually saw last year at Origins in the Media First period. I think aesthetically, it looks beautiful. It is a lot of mechanics. There's worker placement. There is a little bit of area control. There's battling with the other people who are trying to build their own devices up. And every time I see it, I think, man, I can't wait to get my hands on it. And they are hoping to get it out late 2025, or at least a Kickstarter, so that way it'll ship at minimum beginning of next year.
Now, we talked a lot before the show and talked about, we kind of fought back and forth whether to add it to the list, whether to not. That's why it's an honorable mention, because I really didn't get a whole lot of time with it personally. I really liked the Origami Well guy. He was really nice.
Tyler.
Tyler Kim, I think is his name. Really good guy. He took the time to show it to me as a retailer. They're going to have a retailer pledge, which I was like, you're already moving up the list for me, buddy. But I'm excited for that to back. I just didn't feel like I got a hands-on play of it. So I want, I was, blame me, Tyler. It's my fault. It's all my
Well, we're hoping to get a review copy before it comes out. That's what Tyler and I talked about. So hopefully we'll be able to highlight it on the channel and let other people get a chance to see it. So number 3 on the list is going to be Tag Team by Hatchet Games. So this is a new card battler where you are going to pick a superhero, and it's all about card combinations. So you're going to play cards in a combination. The more combinations you create, the more damage you are going to do against your opponent. It's a 1v1 type of game. Jason at Hatchet didn't really give us a chance to play it, but he was really excited to show it to us, and I know that this is one that's going to be coming out at Gencon.
Yeah. And again, we didn't get our hands on it. We were talking about a different game, and Jason was like, "Oh, did you hear about what's coming?" And we're like, "Show us." And so he kind of went behind the counter and pulled it out. I was like, "Check this out." So it felt like they weren't really promoting that game as of yet. I think it still has some balance things they're doing to it, but I know they're going to be pushing it at Gen Con. So they were just about a month away before they felt comfortable with it. But by the time this video goes out, we're doing you a favor, Jason, so you're welcome. But it's on our honorable mentions because we couldn't get it a back and forth trial of it. But I did like a lot of the elements of it. I thought it would be a very fun game. So that's why we wanted to honorable mention it.
Yep. Another one is Fife England from Academy Games. Deon, I know you have had a chance to play Fife games in the past, and you were a big fan of these. And I have to say, it looked very intriguing when you explained it to me.
I like the Fief genre. I think there's Fief France, and there's another Fief one out. But I'm a big fan.
FIFA?
Not FIFA. Fief is what it's.
Okay.
It's like the fief of you're building your own fiefdom.
The fiefdom, yeah.
Yeah,
It was a soccer joke.
it's a bad one. Bad soccer joke.
So it wasn't a goal?
It's not a goal. You completely missed. Anyway, Academy Games booth is where we found that one, and I stopped because I'm like, oh, I love FIFA, and so we took some video of it and looked at it. Really nice. They also had Stellaris there, so there was a couple home runs. I feel, or maybe not home runs, probably like good doubles or triples. But I know with a big group of people, FIFA is always a very fun game, no matter what you do. And now you're putting it in England, you just win, right? So I'm glad you mentioned them as well. Honorable mentions that it's going to be a solid game, I think, upon release.
Yep. Last one we have on our list is going to be Release the Kraken from Funtail. This is one that I hadn't seen. I think it is out now, but this is definitely a party game. The more, the merrier, the better it gets. And Dion, I know you kind of had a chance to get a lot of time with this one.
Yeah, my biggest issue with this one is it's not really fun at 6. It's fun with 7 to 10 to 11. It's really with the more people you can get, the better it
They
is.
need friends, is what you're saying. You need a lot of friends.
Or you need to go out find a friendly local game store and play it and have fun. I think it's going to be making a great event here. So I'm glad we're honorable mentioning this one as well. I think the downfall of this one is you do need a bunch of people to play it. But if you have a good party night, you want to get a little deeper than just a normal drinking game or whatever game. This is definitely a fun hidden role, and you're forcing each other to take roles on the ship. And some are pirates, some are, crew, and some are the deep that is trying to kill. Or one of them is the deep that's trying to feed you to the Kraken. And you're just moving along and facing the perils of sailing the ship. It's seems like what we got out of it and a little bit of playthrough we got through it. Seems like a very fun game. So I'm glad it's definitely on the honorable mentions. I don't think it made it on our top 10, but it was worth mentioning in the video. Check that out.
Big social deduction game. So if you like the video game Town of Salem, or they even referenced Among Us, it's kind of a board game version of that social deduction where everybody doesn't really know their roles. They're trying to figure out who's what, and you're trying to get the boat to one part of the map depending on who you are, and trying to figure out who the cultists are. So yeah, it looks like, again, a fun game with a lot of people. But like I said, nice little list of games that, like I said, we saw, we thought looked great, but there's just 10 more that we're a little more excited about.
Yes, and now to the 10.
All right, Dion. There's no playing around now. There's no more honorable mentions. Those are in the past. This is where the big boys live. This is where it gets real. Like real. So we're going to start off with our number 10, and it's going to come to us. We saw this in the Asthma Day playtime. It is going to be Stitch 626.
Love Letters. The Love Letters game, they're redoing in a Stitch. They have a coin that you can go back and forth to his 626, Project 6, or Stitch. And I love the art. I think it fits perfectly. My kids are going to enjoy it. I can't wait to get my hands actually on it and share with my family. We love Letters. It's a great, we have the Batman one. We have the regular one. We have the one where the Arkham Horror one. So I'm very excited about the 626 Stitch. And it comes in this cool little, the best part.
I was going to say the best part is the bag.
The bag. The bag is the best part. I'm just going to throw the bag over to my 1.5-year-old and let him just play with the bag because he'll be ecstatic, and then the rest of us can play the game. So very, very excited for this one. Again, it's at the 10th mark, but because it is just kind of a redo of Love Letters, but I enjoyed it. I looked at it. I like the cards. I like the art. I'm a Stitch fan, so sue me and we can play. So.
All right, Dion, our number 9 best games of Origin. Number 9 is going to be a game from Hatchet Games, and going with the theme of cards. It is going to be Mega Jackpot.
I really enjoyed this one. And I don't like card games again. So I enjoyed this one because I liked the push your luck element. They kept saying, and I say they, the people that were there selling the games, was this year's Flip 7 is what they kept saying, the push your luck element of it. However,
which we both kind of looked at each other like, that's a big goal.
That's the greatest card game ever created, is what they say at Flip 7.
Well, that's what Eric Olson says on the box.
Eric Olson says on the box. But it was really cool. You have the slot machines of the 3, right? The 3 slot machines up top, and you're flipping over cards, and they'll show on the top of them what could be on the other side of that. So like a cherry or a 7, and you'll flip it over put it wherever, whichever slot you want in those slot machines. And obviously, you're trying to hit 3 of a kind, and then you win the cards for hitting that. And then you can gamble that to go ahead and pick from the 4 different spots that are there, and you're trying to hit the bigger jackpot, which is all the cards you've put back into the box. And you could win it big, or you could fail miserably. And all of the cards have points or coin values on them. So this, the sevens are worth more than the cherries, and so on and so forth. I think with my kids, just like with Flip 7, I think it is a great sitting around, not paying attention to anything game and just pushing your luck, right?
Yeah,
And
which was a big theme with a lot of the card games, if you noticed this year. A lot of the card games were push your luck.
yeah,
Imitation is the best form of flattery.
well, yes, and you can't do a whole lot with a deck. I mean, you can, but you can't do a whole lot with a deck of cards. You have to be creative, and I think that one is pretty cool because it gives you that gambling element. And like Jason said from Machete Games, he said that he's already taught his what was a 7-year-old, I think is what it was, everything he needs to know
Yeah.
about gambling, and he's really effective already. So those are
She
bad.
now has
but
her VIP card to the local casino.
They're taking a trip to Vegas now because this son's making it happen. No, anyway, it was a lot of fun. So I think easily that was our number 9 just because of the fun we had with it. And keep in mind, that's what it's about.
So our number 8 is going to be from our friends at Restoration Games, and this one can be found on Kickstarter as we speak under the late pledges, and it is going to be Battle Monsters. Talk about table presence, Deon, or talk about consuming the entire table and wishing your table was 3 times bigger.
Yeah, it was massive. If someone said, "Hey, let's make a game like King of Tokyo, but we're going to put real, actual miniature monsters in it," this is it. This is kind of, I mean, this is right up that alley, right?
That's right. Yeah, this was a game that caught my eye because how could it literally not? Because it took up half the convention hall as it was happening. The miniatures are not as such. They are massiver. You know what I'm trying to say. They're big. They're big.
Maybe.
These things are Dion, I'm telling you what, man, these things were huge. I would actually be afraid to see how big the boxes are going to be. But effectively, you are going to play one Titan going up against another Titan, and the table is not just filled with 2 giant Titans. You have an entire army that is working with you, and when you're fighting your Titans, you're going to also be working for board control, strategic placement, and gathering resources with all of your smaller units. There was like some cars and tanks and stuff like that will go around the map and try to collect more resources and things that you can then use to upgrade your Titans so they have better abilities during the battle. You're going to be smashing stuff. You're going to be breaking stuff down. I mean, it's just built to destroy, which of course I like. It's got some dice rolling for the combat as well. Hero skills that you're going to see with, most of these type of 1v1 big battlers. But man, I have to give Restoration Games a lot of credit because the miniatures themselves, and you'll see this in the video, but the miniatures in person looked absolutely fantastic.
You definitely couldn't walk by this one. I mean, you had
And to walk around it.
so you had to walk around it. You couldn't walk by it. You had to go over and see what was going on. And so it definitely pulled in a little bit of a crowd, which was kind of nice. And the guys at Restoration Games are absolutely amazing as well. They're really good people to work with and work around. So that helps out a lot as well. But yes.
Well, I felt like a baby with somebody jiggling keys in front of me every time I walked by. Like every time I walked by, I'd be like,
Miniature?
I don't know why. It's just I couldn't stop staring at it. Like every time we walked past that booth, I'd be, oh my god.
You see the one up front with the King Godzilla and the regular Godzilla or whatever it was? Is that the one?
How did you not see it?
That was like that. Miniatures are just big miniatures.
They have to I don't know exactly, but I would say they were at least a foot tall.
Pretty close, I would say. It was pretty big miniatures. I don't know if
They're not miniatures, Dion. They're small people.
they're well,
They're small Godzillas.
they were Babyzillas.
Babyzilla. Yeah, these things were absolutely gargantuan. So If you like miniature, because again, that's a terrible word for it. But if you like battlers, 1v1s with a lot of board placement, area control, gathering resources to upgrade your Titan, this is definitely one. Go check it out right now because it is available to get. But of course, we always are going to prefer you to buy it from your local friendly game store. But it is out there now and it is worth checking out.
I don't have the shelf space for all of this. I don't. There's
You're like, don't make me buy it. I don't have room.
not from this friendly local game.
I've to have a warehouse out back just to hold the battle monsters. Deon, our number 7 game. If you want to talk about just a lot to take in visually, and if there was one game there that was built for Shay, this was the game. And that game, of course, is going to be Zombie Survival Infection.
So yes, past this was I seen this first, and I probably would have missed it if it wasn't at the
Media event.
media first look thing, right? And I really wanted to find a game that really I liked during that media first. And so I kept walking up and down the aisles, walking up and down the aisles, and then I found this art that I just was like, man, that's nice. Like the black and the colors that they were using, the black and green. And I was like, yeah, zombie game. I'll go over and ask the guy how it plays. And it's really cool. Everybody has their own, pretty much like The Walking Dead, they have their own survival camp that they're trying to keep alive. It is a very much take that kind of game, which I do again don't like, but I did enjoy. You're drawing cards and you're building and you're bringing survivors in and you're building your little camp, right? Your survival, and you're trying to make it to last as long as you can. But there are different dice that you're handing to other players after you've rolled them, and then you're handing them that could help them along the way as well as they're building. But sooner or later, someone gets infected, gets bitten, and comes back to your camp, and now your camp is infected, and you have to roll the infected dice to see how many survivors you lose during trying to fight those off. And you get to decide who else's camp is infected by handing them this dice, which was probably my favorite part because I totally was like, oh, you think your stuff is good? Here, take that dice. Now you have to try to defend it against what I just gave you now, the infection. Haha. And it was good. It was a bunch of people. I think it's 6 or 7, I think is what it played.
Yeah, it's 2 to 6.
I would say, yeah, 2 to 6.
2 to 6.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And that's the thing you love with these smaller indie companies because as far as I can tell, I think this is the first and only game that they have created.
They have a couple
And
other ones.
I think he was there with his wife too. But they were incredibly nice people and the type of people who you can tell have put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this to make it as good as they possibly can. And they just kind of seem like the people that you want to see succeed and you want to see this be successful for them. And to me, that's, a lot of what makes this hobby really special is, people kind of rally around good people and really try to support them. And, again, if you like spooky games, I think that this game is going to really hit its stride come, September, October season in preparation for Halloween because people love those spooky spookies, as Shay says. And this is going to be right up that alley for your Spooktober. This is number 6, but man, our top 6 are some big hitters, baby. I got to tell you what, I really hate that this is number 6 because if this was just my list, this would probably be much higher than it is. But it's not just about me. I got to take some of your thoughts into consideration as well. But number 6 is going to be another one that we had a chance to get first hands on with. And the weird part is for some of the world, this game is actually out now. But for the United States, I think it's going to come out around Gencon due to some tariff issues. And it's going to come from our friends at Asmodee. And it is going to be Lord of the Rings, Fate of the Fellowship. And Deon, again, we got a kind of a private access to this, so we did get a very hands-on. We got to sit with, I think, James, who's the head of Asmodee marketing, and he was one who taught us how to play, so we got a dedicated time to really get hands-on with this. And I know you're not a big fan of Pandemic, which is, of course, the core structure and system that it's built off of, but I think we both walked away after it was done. One, the board was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
The Nazguls were gorgeous pieces on the board, and I didn't feel like I was playing a Pandemic game at all.
Not at all. And I think we played with Sam Healy, I think was there at our table as
There
well.
we go.
Pretty cool. But yeah, name drop. Anyway, it was really good to play with him, and that was fun to meet him and talk about different games that we both really enjoyed. But I'll tell you this, when I walked into that meeting, you already had a seat. And you were like, "I'm over here." And I was like, I picked the Lords of the Ring game. Like, I don't really want to even I don't like Pandemic that well. Like, I don't like co-op. And I'm already crying as I'm head down walking to the table. And so I walked in with a very negative attitude. And I walked away very positive. The dice tower that they give you. Oh, beautiful. The Nazgul, the map, the layout. It didn't feel pandemic at all. There's like, oh, because you flip this card and it's hidden amongst it, it's pandemic. Okay, if you say so. The characters where you get to pick, certain actions that you're doing, and then you've got to pick one that you can only do one action with, and you have two characters with you, and the way that the synergy worked with those four players, with those characters, was very well done. Very surprised. So it definitely flipped me totally with like, oh, did you hear they're coming out with a Lord of the Ring Pandemics? Yeah, I'm good. To I would put that in my collection. I'm
Yeah.
interested in playing that with some friends. I'm interested in getting a playthrough here at the shop after getting it and playing with other people that are more Lord of the Ringsy than me. Uh,
Mhm.
that can tell me. I kept going, move those black things, and they're like, they're Nazguls, and I'm like, whatever, just move them this way or whatever. So it's really good as the eye searches around for Frodo and stuff. Is really good.
Yeah. So yeah, so that was the thing, everybody plays two-handed with two characters. Synergy of the characters is gonna be critical. The pandemic style is, you flip a card and the chaos happens, more enemies get added to the board that kind of flood a little bit. So you have to play that battle between trying to create the main objective, which is getting the ring to the Mountain Doom, along with trying to keep the board from overfilling with too many of the orcs. And as you said, the Nazgul miniatures were on these I mean, they were miniatures and they were pretty nice size and they were absolutely gorgeous. So as they're flying around the board and you've got your little Frodo like chilling as a meeple, you're like, he doesn't have a stand chance. Like there's no way. But you actually had one character who was the one hero that could actually fight them and potentially defeat them.
Yes.
And that where a lot of the synergy, a lot of table talk, just again like a pandemic of, hey, let's move there. Hey, I can move you there without causing any resources or putting us in danger. Are you okay with that? And it just to me, that's a lot of fun strategy in a game to kind of work together as a team to try to accomplish the goal of getting the ring to Mount Doom.
Yeah.
But the one thing you did say very well was the dice tower that you get that, also, mind you, fits back in the box perfectly put together is the tower that Sauron's on with the eye. And, oh my god, like, that thing was and it worked well. Like, that's the other part, it worked
Yeah,
well,
it was.
and it's a part of just the game.
And I tell you, it was rewarding. In a, I'm using air quotes, pandemic system to the battles, like the battling of recruiting characters and mustering them up. I mean, in pandemic, you move there and you go, I'm gonna cure, and you just move a cube. And this one, you're like, I've got a battle, so I'm gonna roll these dice, and oh, I did kill one or two or three, and it felt very rewarding instead of just removing them because I did this action. And it was really nice. I'm not gonna lie, it was a lot of fun, and it could go either way. And it felt the longer we stayed, and I keep in mind I only played like one full turnaround, but the longer I could tell, the longer we're there, the worse it was going to get if we didn't do what we got to do and get out of there. And something else too. I was like, oh, these are the three things, whatever. And then they pulls out a handful of different, quests that you have to do. And I was like, whoa, that's pretty cool. I mean, the end quest always just dump the ring, of course, but that's pretty cool. There's a lot of different quests that will come up and multiple playthrough opportunities that will keep me coming back to play this game. So you're right. The fact that it is number 7 as I'm talking about it, or 6, number 6 as we're talking about it, and it didn't break the top 5 is kind of surprising.
Mhm. So if you
We
haven't
have some really good aims on the top 5.
That's right, and I know that it is on Board Game Arena, so you could try it now here in the United States. Get excited about it, so that way when it comes out in your friendly local game store, you can run on buy it because it is gonna be a auto buy for me, I can tell you that right now.
Me too.
Number 6, Lord of the Rings, Fate of the Fellowship. Top 5, this is where the champions live. And we had talked about Sam Healy, formerly of Dice Tower, that we had a chance to play Lord of the Rings with. But this time we had a chance to go head-to-head against Sam in our number 5 game, which also is from Asmodee, and that is going to be Battle of Hoth, a.k.a. Star Wars Memoir 44.
Now, I wasn't a huge fan of Memoir 44, right? It didn't click for me well. I wasn't a big battle fan. I want to go back and play it more now after playing that game because that's what a game does. And a lot of the interactions, keep in mind, that you have at the table really depends on what shaped our top 5, right? The interactions of the table and how it made you feel as you were playing it, pure fun, and got me excited to want to do more. That's our top 5, right? So with that being said, a lot of people say it's just Memoir 44 with a Star Wars thrown or Star Wars IP on it. Okay. If you love Memoir 44, you're going to love this game. If you love Star Wars and you're like, Memoir, you're going to love this game. The cards were really nice. And the fact that I had Darth Vader made me feel super chokeable to everybody at the table. But I liked
It gave you the power you crave.
I did. It gave me the power that I crave inside on my dark side. Definitely fed my dark side. But it was you and I versus Sam and another guy it was a guy from the Dice Tower. I can't remember his name. I apologize.
Jeremy, I think is his name.
Jeremy, I want to say maybe. Anyway,
So it's basically Dice Tower versus Champions Tabletop.
well, not Sam's no longer Dice Tower, but I think that's what through. Wanted to make sure Champions won. But anyway, it was a lot of fun playing. A lot of fun playing the card, deciding what sections you were going to move, what characters, what distance and learning the distance. They had a couple spots where you can jump up on and give you a little bit range, and you roll the dice. So it's still a dice roller. Again, not a fan, but this game deserves to be in the top 5 because it made me come back to the shop and go, hey guys, I want to play more Memoir. And why? Because I kind of know how it plays now, and I like it. I like the Star Wars version of it, but I think I like it better, of course, as a Star Wars version. So
yeah,
I know it's a game.
Back to the spoiler.
Repainted.
When we did play Dice Tower Adjacent and Dice Tower, as you would expect, the champions won. We rose to the top.
I don't think we finished it.
We won. We won.
I mean, we were gonna win. I mean,
We were gonna win. The time ran out. We had them on the back heels. You'll see in the video. They've got very few Rebel players left.
After that, Sam didn't want to play with you anymore.
He literally walked away. He's supposed to play with us at the next game.
Yeah.
He said, "No, I got to change it up.
He walked.
I like to win. I'm not going to do it if I'm playing against you guys." It's almost exactly what he said.
Wasn't that?
Silently in his
Well,
head.
we had a blast, and I think it was a lot to do with the people we had at the table. Because it is, like I said, just a Memoir 44 redo. But it was, I enjoyed the 2v2. I think I would have enjoyed it 1v1. Probably more because then I didn't have to make up for your horrible moves. But I did enjoy the people at the table that we were playing with, and it was so much fun to move our little, different characters, the AT-AT over, and it felt very powerful. And
It felt like Star Wars.
it did. It felt very Star Wars, which is great. I love that IP.
So, yeah, if you don't want to get into Star Wars Legion or Star Wars Shatterpoint, I think that this is talk about a true intro into like wargaming. I think this could be a really nice little gateway into like a Star Wars Legion or Shatterpoint, honestly. So give it a try if you haven't ever played it. And if you love the Star Wars IP and you like the idea of wargaming or miniature battles and that type of thing, man, this is just an auto. Go buy it, go play it. You're going to love it. And there's going to be like a bajillion expansions coming. Our number 4 is a game that probably gave me one of the best workouts I've ever had with a game, thanks to you. It's going to come. This game actually came out, I think, about sometime late last year, middle of last year. It was a Kickstarter originally. I'd actually seen this at Gencon back in 2023 when it was first getting pushed out. And I haven't had a chance to play it, but it got compared to arguably one of your favorite games of all time, My Father's Work. And that game is going to be Ascendancy by One More Turn Games.
Now, I only walked away with one game from this convention. That's all I walked away with. One game.
No.
There were 6 copies of it, but 1 game is all I walked away with. And this was
Let me preface this. This game weighs about 20 pounds a box. But when he walked away with 1 game, he walked away with 6 versions of said 1 game at 20 pounds a box in the middle of a convention center with our car roughly about a half a mile away. So go on with your story and just remember that that's why I'm now cut.
Well, there's 2 brothers, that from what I understand was running the booth. And they're pretty good dudes. Like, they worked with me as a retailer. I wrote this game off. I seen it on Kickstarter, and as a retailer, I wrote it off. They were like, "If you love my father's work, you've got to play Ascendancy." And I'm like, "Yeah, whatever. I will never get my hands on it. There was no retail pledge on it, and I will never get a chance to play this game." It looks amazing. So we're sitting there at Origins and we get a chance to kind of look at it, touch the pieces and move it around and learn more about it. It's a worker placement game with 4X strategy in it, which is really nice. And you go generational. So you have glory and everything that you build up and then you hand on to the next generation. It's got a great story with it that you're making decisions. You could play it free for all, you could play it cooperative, you could play it one player, you could play it teams. It's you decide as you're playing the game. Uh, Pieces are beautiful, the trays are wonderful. This is a Kickstarter version, and I was able to get my hands on some for the store and for myself, which they worked with me to get me a one for my my shop to demo out. We're gonna run events on it here. Super excited about this one. Again, I left with 1 game, and that's why I pushed it into the top 5, even against your will. Because you had some built up animosity about I gotta carry all these bats, just whine the entire time. But it's number 4 because
Yeah.
essentially, go look it up. It has a great rating on BGG. It is a really fun, exciting game. I only got to see a few turns go through that I was excited about, but I cannot wait to get this one to the table. And I can. I've got it right outside there. I'm ready to I'm gonna open it right after this and just sit here and enjoy it by myself.
Well, and I'm always a sucker for these types of big box games too, because I hate space in my house with a passion. Um, and I have to say, this is one that I've always kind of had my eye on. But again, when it just comes down to like you just don't have enough time for stuff all the time, you kind of lose interest. But I will say, my father work is truly, I think, an absolute masterpiece when it comes to a game. And so, if this game can do half of what my father works does, I think it's going to be a real big hit. But one of the things, Dion, that you didn't mention that also really intrigued me, because again, this is a very story-rich game that you're going to be playing through. They do have this as part of the Foreteller app. And their booth was actually right next to Foreteller. That's kind of how we got connected with Foretellers. They're like, "Oh yeah, we're voiced over by those guys right there. Go check them out." And that's kind of when we learned a lot more about Foreteller. And so I have to say, now knowing that I don't have to try to act this out and completely ruin game night for my family, and I can just put on a really beautiful app with beautiful art, with beautiful music and great voice acting, I'm even more excited to bust my copy open and get this on the table because a lot of mechanics going on, a lot of a lot happening for sure. But I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and the viewers, if you want to see us play this game, post down below. Like I want to see this game played out, and we'll try to get as much as we can, at least the first couple things done, get it filmed and get it out for you to show you with Foreteller, of course, in the background, and really show you why we were excited to make this our number 4.
I have to say, Dion, our number 3 game from Origins is one that I feel I saw you probably talk the most about in anticipation and excitement, outside of our number 1, of course. But this game is by a company called Bazier Games, and the game is called the Game Maker Game. And I know that one of the things you do at your shop is you have like the Gamesmith Club every Friday. People get together and, run ideas because they're all building their own unique board games that they're trying to get to market. And this is kind of like, hey, let's make a game about making a game.
Well, I could tell you this. I'm torn. I'm torn really bad between this because I'm really upset as a retailer, but really excited as a game lover, right? With this company, Bizarre Games or Bazier Games. It's a simultaneous worker placement game. So you're simultaneously placing your little cart, and the pieces were amazing. Your forklift as you're making games. And it's really cool because you're filling up the Calyx with games that you make as you're making them and adding the pieces and doing all the great stuff. And you're filling them up with real games, right? So and they've reached out to 15,000 different companies or something crazy.
They've got over 300 real world games in this game from over 100 different real publishers. So games like Wingspan, Brass Birmingham, On Mars, Terraforming Mars, Arc Nova, Twilight Imperium.
Yeah, you're
They're all in the game.
those games with and I say with because you're not really using um the mechanics to make the games, but you're building those games and then you're just selecting what game you're trying to build. And they have a certain things you do to build it. Um, and I kind of like you're also planting trees because of course you're deforesting or whatever you're taking away the forest or you're planting trees along the way. And they got these cool little tree minis that you're putting on the side of your board. And the
Making a
best
bigger
part
assembly line.
assembly line. I mean, you're moving up like the different markers and you're getting points for them on the different types. Like it's an area control game or it's a set collector and you're moving those little pieces up that you're doing, which we also teach a lot of classes here regarding game design. So it's going to fit perfect with that. So it made me really excited. And to be honest with you, it has the best that I've seen ever in any game tiebreaker. For a tiebreaker, you actually scan a little code. It's going to take you to BGG, Board Game Geek, and whoever made the top rated game that's in there in the top 100 wins the game. So if I make a game and it's rated better than yours, then I get in the top 100 games. I win the game on the tiebreaker, which is kind of cool. That means I made a better game than you. I kind of liked it. I thought it was fun.
So talk about setting Board Game Geek up for manipulation.
That is true. I'm going to go on and vote every game I make. I'm just going to, during the game, I'm going to vote it up heavy in order that way so I can make sure if it is a tiebreaker, I'm winning.
Go to some shady website and buy votes quickly.
Yeah. Nah. Anyway, this really
Monopoly Pokemon Edition is now the #1 game of all time. Who would have guessed? I did it.
There's a little like slidable thing that you're using. It's in the middle of the table. Table presence amazing. Everybody's individual boards very, very big. I think it's going on to Kickstarter soon.
I think the components and the table presence were really good. And I don't know if what we saw was like the final presentation. I think it's still a work in progress. But if it comes out even with what we saw, I will say their booth and that game specifically, probably senselessly across the board, had more people at it constantly than I would say any game that I saw at Gamma or Origins. I'm sorry. So that one was constantly surrounded by people who were interested, taking pictures, taking videos. So for my opinion of public opinion, I would say that one probably ranked very high for the general public. So I think it's going to be a very successful game.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, who gets the silver medal? And it's kind of embarrassing, Deon, because this is yet another Asmodee game, and I hate that we're constantly going back to them with thing after thing after thing, but their presentation, we both walked away, and it was like, that was probably one of the best things that we did at Origins outside of what's #1.
Yeah, hands down. And I think they didn't even have booths there. So Asmodee doesn't even have a booth, and we're talking about games the entire ride home that we played in this event. So I mean, hands down, this was awesome for them, especially us being media to get a chance to get into that. And I think if they would have had a booth showing off this game, which they will be at Gencon, I'm sure, definitely have to stop by the Asmodee booth and check these games out, man. Just home run after home run.
And so #2, I can confidently tell you, is a game that it's not just our opinion. It was probably one of the best games we played. I talked to several other content creators out there who also actually prepped us for the fact that that was their favorite game that they played at this event because they had gone to a previous one. And there was at least 4 or 5 of them who all said, "Oh, Take Time was the best game above Lord of the Rings Fate, above Battle for Hoth, above all the others that they showed us. Take Time." Now, I don't know if this is coming out in 2025 or if it's going to get pushed to 2026. I wasn't certain based on what Asmodee said, but Take Time, Deon, it's a party game, and it was very high on your list.
I don't know if they consider it a party game. It definitely runs in
They're
that
not, but
crew.
it's a party game you play with friends.
Well, it's 4 people. I don't know if you could call 4 people a party. I mean, you might because you don't have,
I do.
but
I'm a solo guy, man.
yeah. So you were like, oh my gosh, 3 more people. It's a party. It was a 4-player.
People.
It was a 4-player game. Um,
Oh, it's such a good 4-player game, though.
was and it kind of gave me the feelings of the crew, mixed with the mind. You know, a couple really good mixtures there, and we almost didn't get a chance to play it. You pulled me back into the room as I was walking out, and you're going, "Hey, we need to play this." And I'm like, I'm not really excited about that one, but I'll sit down and play. And the fun that we had, I think it was you, me, and I don't remember the other gentleman, but I do remember the gentleman to my left, which is the creator of Days of Wonder. I believe he was the not Days of Wonder,
Stefan.
Stefan, yeah, the creator of Duel for the Lord of the Rings, Duel for Middle Earth. He was there playing with us, so it was fun, and we had a blast.
Mm.
And it's
So
really
effectively, what
like a clock in the middle, right? And everybody gets cards. I can't remember if it's 4 or 5, 6 cards, but you get cards in your hand, and you can't look at them yet. You can discuss your strategy, and it's obvious. The first round, I was like, "That's got to be sample. This is dumb." When it hit us with the second round, I was like, "Holy crap, this is amazing!" Right? Because everything you discussed in the beginning, oh, make sure if you got a low number, you start first and you're going to place it here. And then you're going to place it there. We discussed all the strategy we wanted to discuss. We're like, okay, flip our cards. And nobody had what we discussed. Everybody's like, and you can't talk anymore about the game or about what you're going to place. You then just have to all look at each other's eyes and agree that this is how we're going to do it. We are going to randomly place these cards around, and hopefully when we reveal them, they're going to meet the parameters to pass this time moment of this clock that we're doing. And I would have to say it was extremely fun for someone who doesn't normally like games like that. Again, total mind changer for me. Easy number 2. It would have pushed to number 1 if number 1 wasn't there. Um, and again,
and that's what I liked about the game. So you said, like, there's a clock, and effectively you start with 1 card, and there's different areas on the clock that you had to fill cards in. And some of the areas on the clock had stipulations like you must play 3 cards here, or different unique things that had to be fit. So effectively, the goal was every card had to be a bigger number as you went around the clock. But again, as you're putting cards down, one person puts a card, the next person, you're putting them face down. So you don't know the numbers that are there. It's just truly, as Deon said, you're looking at the utter terror and fear of each other's eyes, thinking, please don't screw this up for us. Uh, and it's going to be your fault if it is. And I will say, the first game, I took the lead. I said, hey, guys, I will lead us to victory. I put you guys on my shoulders, and I carried us to a sound victory. It was amazing. I was the hero. And I will say again, simple games sometimes are just the best because this is something that I think you can play with your family very easily. It doesn't take really a lot of thought. There is some strategy that can come in with some of the different, later clocks that come up because you actually get little tokens that will let you take a peek at a card. So, for example, one of the stipulations on the clock of one of the games we played, you had to have between a total of 8 to 12 from the cards that you put, and all the cards are basically 1 through 12. So it had to add up, between 8 and 12. And the guy put a 6 down, knowing it was a 6, and he said, hey, I want to use one of our tokens because I want you all to see that that's a 6. Well, when it came around to my turn, thankfully I had a 2. So I put upside down, I put a 2, knowing full well, boom, now we're set. Now we have the 8 that we needed to fit between the 8 and 12. But like I said, it's just
And during that situation that you mentioned, I'm panicking because I have 8, 10, and 12 in my hands, right? And he puts a card down. We all agreed in the beginning, whoever has the 8 through 12, put it there. And I have an 8, 10, and a 12. And I'm like, I'm going to put the 10. It's in the middle. I'm good. And then he goes before me and puts a card down. And I'm in panic mode, like, what's going on? Like, I think wasn't what we talked about. And I'm freaking out.
brilliant strategy up. He didn't care.
To throw the whole game away. And I'm thinking the whole time we've lost that round over that stupid play. And it ends up winning. You know, it ends up pulling off because he was able to use one of those tokens to let us view it. I won't pat. That was the second round. It didn't have enough. I don't know how you're patting yourself on the back.
No, because you put a 6 down. I put the 2. We got the 8.
We were in different games, obviously, because I don't remember you doing anything to help other than randomly playing cards down and me and Stephon having to bail you out. I remember.
It's probably because you couldn't see me from so far up leading the way.
Yeah.
Is my guess.
We were a cooperative game. There was no leading the way. I think you were playing a different
Champions. But I will say this to me, and again, I don't know if this is coming out for Gencon. I don't know if it's coming out after Gencon or beginning of next year. But whenever it comes out, I desperately, like, this is an auto purchase. There's no second guessing. Just if you like just silly trick taking, press your luck. I mean, I almost felt like this was this year's version of like that Flip 7 type of game. Just simple to play. Yeah. Oh my God. It's going to sell so many copies because it's just so much fun when you play it with friends.
I didn't think it was anywhere near Flip 7 level because Flip 7 is just, you don't have to do anything at Flip 7. You're just like, hit me again, hit me, never mind. It is just strictly push your luck. Where this game was very much where you had to be thinking, okay, I wonder if he put this number here. What do I do? It wasn't just dumb luck finding. There was some strategy to how I play these cards, and it matters. When we started piling up on multiple in one space, I'm like, there is no way we're going to play enough cards based on, because you have to play every card in your hand, how we're going to be able to finish this. And we ended up finishing it. It felt very much like the crew without the trick taking element, right? Because the crew, you'll look through and go, you're not doing this. And then when you do it, you're like, yeah, we're awesome. We did it. You're high-fiving and you're like, we're the best gamers in the world. And you just feel like total champions when you're done with it. So even though we were only on level 2, but it felt very rewarding to be able to pull that off, especially with who I had at the table.
What I know is we played 2 games. We won 2 times. What you expect from the Champions Tabletop? We brought it. We did it with Stephon, originator of Lord of the Rings duels. I mean, just what we do. Number 2, take time. We're here. The tippy top of the mountain. This is it. Deon. This is the number 1. And I have to tell you, this number 1 is a game that confidently said it's probably never been on anybody's list before. 99.999% of the world's never heard of this game before. And I swear to God, Deon, this might be one of the most fun, enjoyable board games I have ever played in my entire life. Now, caveat to this.
Before you announce it.
Caveat to this real quick. Theme is one of the biggest drivers. So thematically, this is critical. But share your story, because this is why you go to conventions. That's all I can say. This game is exactly why you go to conventions.
Well, it's about a 4.5 drive down to Columbus. So we have to rewind the clock and start before. Matt and I discussed many times, even off air, that we're both sports fans, right? We're both really big sports fans, and there just really isn't any board game that has a sports kind of theme to it that excites us. We've played majority, or if not all of them that are out there, and there's nothing that's really like, it's okay, or it's kind of silly, or whatever.
Baseball Highlights is probably the number 1 on my list.
11's supposed to be really good. I haven't jumped into that one yet because I'm not a soccer fan. So, sorry, football fan. Anyway, we're standing. The show's over. So one of the things I love about Origins is at 6:00, the floor is done, but they have another area that's open all day as well, and it's open till 1 a.m. and they have a library. There's like 1,200 or 1,300 in that library. I asked them. Yes. Anyway, we both look at each other like, hey, we're not ready to go back to the hotel yet, so let's play a game. That's what we're here to do. So we're waiting in line and we're having a conversation about, man, I'm really not sure what I'm going to get to play. And I remember the conversation that we've had many times about sports games. And I look over and I see out of the corner of my eye, Huddle, fantasy football game. And I go, what is that? So I look over there. And he looks over and goes, ooh, what's that? I said, you want to get out of line that says players wanted on the sign? And he goes, yeah, let's check it out. So we go over. And I can't remember the gentleman's name that showed it to us. Jeff. Great guy, was into it. He was showing us all, and he mentions it's a bidding game. And I go, nah, it's a dice rolling. Nah, I don't even want to be here anymore of this game. So I'll stick around because I like football. Right. And as you mentioned, it was probably one of the best, hands down, experience we've ever had at a convention. So good that we showed up the next day with friends that come from the shop, and we were like, we all want to play it again. You're going to have to show us it again. And he did have, I don't even think it was the original copy we played the first time, was it? It was like the
prototype.
Like the prototype. And then the second day, they actually brought in the real copy.
Dylan, the owner of Giggle Labs Games, the creator of it, he had finally shown up. He's from New Zealand, and he had a chance to finally get to Origins. And Jeff was like, hey, Dylan's going to be here with a real copy, so come check it out. Come check it out. So we're like, okay, let's get a chance. And we got to play a 6-person game.
And I tell you, a lot of it is how warm they were to be friendly with us, how excited they were that we liked their game. I actually taught the second game that we played and even threw in some caveat rules that I liked, house rules. And I think that's the fun part about the game is it's a buddy game that you're just going to have a blast with. Wives are going to enjoy it because it's not, you don't really have to know a whole lot about football. You're just filling in the slots that you need quarterback and running back.
Yeah.
And
well, let's kind of walk them through it. So how this game works is very simple. There's multiple phases that fit just thematically. This game is one of the best thematic games, honestly, I've ever played. And it's by a guy who really hasn't played many board games in his life. That's what's staggering about this. Like, talk about hitting a home run the first time you swing the bat. That's exactly what Dylan did. But moral of the story is this. If you're familiar with fantasy football, you know you need a quarterback, wide receiver, running back. You need a flex, a tight end, a kicker, a defense, and a bench. So first phase is you're going to go through and you're going to do an auction. And so you get a set amount of chips. Everybody does get the same amount of chips. And they're going to turn over one of each position of the players. And how it works is every player has a number of stars and a team that they're attached to. So the number of stars are going to represent how many dice you get to roll when you get to the actual league games. So the more stars, the better. So if you get a 5-star quarterback, which is the highest you could get, it's 1 through 5. If you get a 5-star quarterback, he gets to roll 5 dice when you play the game. That's a lot. So of course, the instinct is I'm going to bid big because there's only a few of these 5 stars. I want them. They're special. Well, each round you bid and you're going to use your chips to acquire more players. And you got to fill out your whole team. You got to be strategic in how you bid because if you run out of chips and you don't have a full team, you have missing spots. You're going to not roll dice. It hurts you. The other thing you want to watch for with your players that you're drafting is what team they play for, because if you have 2 guys on the same team, well, then you're going to get an extra dice bonus on your rolls, which again adds up. Once you have your team, you're going to go to like the preseason where you're going to have a waiver wire. It's going to flip new cards over for every position, get a few coins back. You can use them to get the position players if you want. Then you're going to have a week news card that's pulled that affects all the teams across the whole league. Could be something like, hey, Kansas City just got back from a great trip to New Zealand and they're feeling extra frothy. So if any of your Kansas City players are on your team, you get 1 dice roll extra for each one, something like that. Then everybody takes a player news card, which is going to impact just your team. Could be things like, hey, you made a bonehead choice and now you just traded your kicker with your opponent's kicker. You could have a high-star quarterback or kicker. They could have a 1-star. You now have to place that trade. Then the games are very simple. You're going to go position by position. So quarterback, running back, wide receiver, etc. And all you're going to do is if my quarterback's a 4-star and Deon's is a 4-star, we're both going to take 4 dice and we're going to chuck them into this joint box. And we both have to roll them at the same time because if you miss or any of your dice pop out of the box, that dice doesn't count. That's part of the game, baby. So you got to drop them, roll them into the box. You add up your score, and you do that for each position. And just like fantasy football, you add up all of your positional players' points. Whoever scores the most points gets a win or a loss for that week. Then you go into waiver wire. You do it again, and just kind of repeat through the course of the season. So the scale of it is very simple. Auction dice rolling. It doesn't seem like there's a lot to it, but my God, Deon, I I've never seen you, and this is saying a lot. Like I've never seen you have so much fun playing a game.
And it's two things I don't like in my games. I don't like bidding. I just not a bidding fan. If it's done well with like a furnace type of bidding where there's strategic bidding where you're trying to lose some and trying to win some, um, I don't mind it. I don't like dice rolling. I don't like the randomness. I don't like the randomness of cards that you pull up and they say, "Oh, you got this because of whatever," and then you've got to do it, and it's very frustrating. So as a strategic game, it isn't super strategy, right? Although it was about as real to life as my real fantasy team I've ever had, which is I do really good during the season, then fall apart before I get to the playoffs. So that was pretty normal there. But the free agency that you get to go through some of the old cards and trade out because of just not performing for you, or you found somebody threw out a better kicker than you have, and you're like, "Ooh, I want to put that in the spot." So the management of the team, and I'm using management, we coined the locker room is the area where you have to decide you get plus ones or not based on what bonuses that you're getting. And it was just silly dice chucking. And we had so much fun because if you've ever been in a fantasy football league with friends ever in your life, the trash talk that happens, that's what we did at the table. Just
We called it that.
steady
We called it the message board system.
trash talk. Yeah. Just steady message boarding back and forth, talking the mess. Just like I'm going to destroy you this week. And then when we roll good, we're like, yeah, even though the players didn't have the names on them, their colors were pretty similar to and I'm like, oh, you've got the Dallas Cowboys, you're going down, and I've got my Detroit as my quarterback. We're gonna, and throw the dice. And it just stupid stuff like that. And we were calling them the real names of the players, even though they're not. But we know we're football fans. We know what we're doing. But you don't have to be a football fan to enjoy this game. And it's silly fun that it's experiences, right? Cons are experiences. You only go to a con to experience things like we experience, and it was an amazing experience. The fact that you're playing you're playing just before the championship game, and you're throwing your dice, and you reach over and you tell him as you beat him, "Go to sleep, go to sleep," which
And
was
he did.
big
I put him to sleep, baby.
because it was probably 12 o'clock at night by that time, and he really needed to go to sleep.
Right? Yeah, that's why I said, "Shh, go to sleep."
Go to
So I actually screamed it at him, but
Yes, you
and I know Dylan who made it even gave us a little shout out. He thought that was funny enough,
Yes.
but
And
like I
also,
said, this
guys,
is
go to their website. They're only selling it direct right now. So go to their website. It's Huddle. I don't know the exact website, but it is Huddle, the fantasy football game. Pick it up. If you have anybody in your life that loves football, they're going to love it more. What you're going to do is turn your husband or your spouse, if they enjoy football and they're kind of like, yeah, I'm not a real big board game fan, they're going to love this. If they're a big board game fan and they enjoy sports, they're going to love this. It's not going to hit everybody, but if you're just you like dice chucking and you like something, fantasy around it, that is perfect. Absolutely perfect.
yeah.
Really well done game, and I'm really surprised for Dylan. He's a great guy, absolute great guy. Him and Jim both were amazing. And we spent many hours talking to them. We went back the next night, and like I said, we pulled friends together to play. And at 6 players, it played amazing, just so much fun. And you pick how many weeks you want to run your franchise in, and it was just hands down number one for me, without a question.
Yeah, it was number one for both of us. Like we literally got in the car and we were driving home and just kind of cultivating our lists. And it was just like we kind of looked at each other like, number one, yeah, it's number one. I mean, there's not even a close second. Like Take Time was fun, but like truly the biggest disappointment I had about Origins was I didn't get to leave with a copy of that game.
That's what I was going to
Like,
say. The fact I could bring it back and share with my community, which I have a few. We actually have a fantasy football league within our Discord. So the fact I couldn't bring it back and share with the community, the fact that I'm just talking about it still and the excitement that we had that I didn't leave with a copy of it, pretty upset. I cannot wait for Dylan to send us a copy to share on the channel here, for me to be able to have a copy to share with my community. It is my winner, and just the fun that you're going to have at the table is well
Yeah.
so.
And like I said, Dylan, for a first-time publisher, just such authentically good guys. It's like they wanna do something fun. They wanna make something neat. We're already working on the next game, which also sounds really good, sports theme. But again, I have to say this, like, as I told them, this game needs to be on, like, the GQ list, the men's health list when they always put out, like, the best Father's Day gifts, the best, what to get your dad for his birthday, what to get dad for Christmas kinda list, because this is the type of game where if you like board games and you like sports, you need to own this yesterday. Like, there's just no question. If you like both of those things, this is an absolute auto buy. Better than Heat, better than any baseball highlights, better than all of them because thematically it's so amazing. But especially when you have some friends around you and you're playing this, there is few games that open themselves up to better trash talk, to better engagement with each other, and just utter and pure fun. Like,
Well, like you said, what
that's the thing.
I mean, everybody's doing their draft. Why not pick up this game, play it? Whoever wins gets first pick of this year's draft
Yeah.
for real fantasy football league. That's just
Yeah.
perfect timing right now. And for those that don't even like football, I want a preference. If you don't even like football and you just like board games, my wife would play this game with me, and she wouldn't know other than the fact that we're drafting. She doesn't care what quarterback or anything else. She's just going to try to get the most dice possible to beat me in a rolling, right? Um, and it is, I think, even if you don't like, as in a huge sports fan at all, but you have someone in your family that is, I think it'll be great for you as well because you'll just have a blast because it's a lot of fun. And then when you beat them, you'd be like, I don't even like football. Take that. It's a lot of fun. So I highly recommend check.
I know we're releasing this game quite a bit, but I'll tell you what.
Right. It was the whole, like, I was wondering after day one, why'd I even bother? Day two is when we got introduced to this game, and I was like, that I'm glad I came. That was worth the entire trip to me. To find something like that. And don't get me wrong, the rest of them on this list are really good. I'm really excited about. This one is my number one because that's the biggest bum part of it is that I couldn't have him take my money now and leave with the game. Like, that was my biggest bum part is that I could not give him a couple $100 for 6 or 7 of these things so I could take back and share with everybody else. That's my biggest bummer.
Yeah. But the good news is, Deon, is at least what they told us, and let's hope that they follow through with this, because we will absolutely be playing it on the channel. But they're supposed to get us a copy as soon as they get them, so that way we can highlight it and share it with all of you. Because again, man, I've thought about this game so much today, like just wishing I had a copy. Like I said, I've got a game night coming up with my family. And like, this is something just I feel like anybody can just have so much fun with, and I cannot wait to play this again. So, Huddle by Giggle Lab Games. If you have not heard of it, while we were talking, I looked it up. It has a 9.7 on BGG right now. Granted, it only has 6 votes, but I will be sure to give it a 10 out of 10 because, my gosh, it's just go buy it. Like, I don't know what to say. Just spend your $65 or whatever MSRP is.
And
Just go buy it.
every team had their own colored dice. Every team had their own colored chips. So he didn't lack on a lot of this. He could have easily lacked on a lot of this stuff.
Well, the production
Price
quality,
would-
we didn't talk about that. Production quality through the roof.
Yeah. It could have came down quite a bit if he wouldn't have gone that overboard with a lot of this stuff. But it feels nice that he did. And as a tactile,
Because even the auction chips are like the heavy poker chips. Like, and that was something he said was based on testing. People play with those chips constantly. And so from a tactile perspective, they wanted to have very high-end chips, even though that would have been a great way to get the cost of the game down. That's probably the most expensive component in the whole game. But he said, I can't compromise on this. It's too important to him.
so shout out to Dylan and the guys over there, Jeff and was it Giggle Labs? Shout out to you guys. It was by far our favorite thing that we've seen at the show. And you're our number one. We love you.
So with that said, Deon, that is, in our opinion, the 10 most excited games that we saw, that we felt, that we cannot wait to get on our own tables. And man, I feel pretty good about that list. I feel like we kind of hit some home runs there.
I don't usually pat myself on the back here, but those 10, trust me, are worth it.
That's a trust me, bro.
So trust me, bro. And even the honorable mentions, trust me, bro. Worth it.
So with that said, we'll go ahead and wrap this video because it was certainly long enough. But if you were at Origins, definitely down below, leave a like, leave a comment. Tell us what your favorite game at Origins was and what game you're most excited as the Gen Con season comes up here in the next month. So tell us. But more importantly, hit the like, hit the subscribe. We're only like literally 12 subs away from hitting the top, the 500, hitting our first goal on this journey that we set out to do a year ago. So if you get that chance, please do that. It would mean the world to us to help support the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. Takes 3.5 seconds. So with that said, Deon, this was quite the list. It was quite an event, and I was really glad to get to do it with you, buddy.
Same back at you. I enjoyed it. I can't wait till next year.
All right. With that said, champions never stop playing. Goodbye, everybody.
Cause nobody's better than me. What do you see? Give it up.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise.